From the top rope, this is the Squared Circus.
Square! Ah! That's the occult phenomenon. You know what I think?
Recording in progress.
I realize I like paint.
That was a botch. Hold on.
So, anyway, that's how it's gonna go.
Recording in progress. First, the question everybody wants to know the answer to. Is it still Irish coffee if you use Japanese whiskey?
Yes. So,
okay. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Have a good night.
Like, share, and subscribe. I've never actually said that, except as a joke just now.
Yeah, because I don't think we really care.
No.
We were going to talk about All In again because the tickets now are probably way over 80,000. I just read that they beat SummerSlam in 92 or 93, one of those years.
Yeah.
And they had they might actually beat two more shows that was out there or whatever. And I don't think people realize how huge it is, not just for AEW, but for wrestling. And then that's what this is actually going to help out WWE as well, too. And because you know me, I always have to add both if it fits. Yeah. So because if they're doing so well now, and even because I heard there's like a living crisis there where everything's fucking expensive as shit. And they still didn't actually price gauge the prices. Like I heard the prices aren't actually as bad as what people think they are.
Okay. Coming
from London with the crisis. So the fact that they're doing this, and now that they're finally starting to pop some shows and have a few, matches on the card. I heard that it did boost a little bit with the MGF and Cole.
Which I was, I had said I didn't expect it to, but it looks like it might have.
I like that. I kind of like that the fact that because London is people from London is saying that we want to see main people from AEW. So even though I was gonna say J. Cole, Jesus Christ, Adam Cole. This is how tired I am. I'm thinking about rap. Adam Cole, MGF is really good. I think it's gonna be cool to see them actually headline now. I'm pretty sure that they'll do the turn during the pre-show where Adam Cole is going to pick, and then they'll make it where that's what's going to happen in the end. But the fact that they did it and they still did a boost of tickets is really good.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say the push that they're giving that feud has been great. And even for me, I don't know why, but announcing that, that pre-show tag match kind of added to it, It added to the whole story, because now there's an intrigue. Okay, what are they doing here? Is one of them going to turn on the other during the pre-show?
That's what I like. Is you really don't know.
Yeah, and Aussie Open, is great, so it's going to be a good match.
And also, another thing is I wanted to say was I'm pretty sure that they were going to kill it before All In, where they're both feuding then. But I think that they were so over that they decided not to.
Yeah.
During the tag team champion match, because they realized that how over they are. The shirts are selling. This is selling. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's that's a good move on them, and it's probably one of the better storylines that they had, probably since they started. I'm gonna be honest. I think since they started, this is probably one of the better storylines because it's continuing. It's adding more shit. It's you don't know what's gonna go. Yeah. There was some good storylines there, but I don't think anything as well as this.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's it's compelling. It's funny. There's an aspect of drama to it. The two guys involved are both very charismatic and excellent talkers. Maybe the two best talkers they have. It's they're using they're teasing it out over a long period of time, but not too long where you forget. Or that it doesn't feel like a storyline because it's just part of the everyday show. A lot of people talk about some of the longer term storylines, with Hangman and the Bucks, you could argue that was a multi-year story, but they weren't adding
really
to it
care.
every week. It was,
Yeah.
it took a long time, but it wasn't ongoing. So it's not quite the same thing.
When Black Licorice Candy Club fights with someone, what's it called? You don't really care who wins or not. You're like, all right, it's gonna be a good match, but you don't really care about the feud. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, it is what it is. So I think all of them are like that. We're like, okay, cool, this is a cool feud and blah blah blah. But it's like, whatever. But this one, you actually you're interested in each week of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of the Black Licorice Candy Club, I mean, what should be a very compelling story is Moxley and Orange, which I have to assume they're going to do for All In
sometime
or at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
People are talking about they might do a 3-way with like Blackpool versus House of Black.
Yeah. I heard that.
Licorice versus Pancakes.
Yeah.
But that is not as compelling to me for this big of a show. So I hope that's not what they're doing. But I mean, I do hope Claudio gets some kind of a match at All In. But what they should do is, I think, the Moxley versus Orange match. But I think they need to start doing more with it, because he can't. There was a couple of run-ins here and there, but they haven't really done much of a story with it. So I don't know. Was it Rampage? Something happened. I think the last thing they did was like 2 rampages ago, because what's today? Today's the August 12th. There was that match that I didn't see because I haven't been watching Rampage. It was like another parking lot brawl with Best Friends versus Blackpool. So I mean, that was part of that story.
Can you imagine Orange in a match where there's blood? Like kind of like, like if he bleed, I'm not a huge fan of like the whole blood matches and this, because I know Mox bleeds all the time, and everyone says that as a joke too. Yeah, really. But can you imagine though, if it's like a match like that? It'll be different. It'll be actually different to see Mox do something like silly too, like actually get along with like the whole art. Like it's just something different, and that's what I'm hoping that they get, because the Licorice and Pancakes is going to be almost the same shit. Like it's. They're all good performers and they're all good people in their right minds, but it's just like it's the same routine, type of thing to me.
No, but, I tend to agree. And not having Brian hurts, which again, I've said this about a few people. People get hurt, and you know what? Let people have their time off. But I think you could still use them in promos and stuff. Like the fact that Jamie Hayter is hurt and is just gone now. I don't know. Would she rather be? That
also could be them, too. Like maybe maybe Brian, because Brian likes his time away too. You know what I'm saying? So like it's like maybe he said, "All right, I'm going to take this time to be with the family." Different types of shit. So who knows? We don't know that aspect.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we usually assume wrestlers want to get as much TV time as possible, but sometimes they might want a break, especially when they're working a lot. Jamie Hayter had the belt, so she was prominent. And maybe she's like, well, let me take this time while I can, but maybe not. I just threw Jamie Hayter in there, but like she was the other person who I think should be getting if it were something she wanted to do, that they should be putting her on camera still, even though she can't wrestle, because she adds a lot to the women's division.
What do you think Eddie Kingston is going to do?
Oh, so Eddie Kingston showed up on Rampage. Well, I shouldn't say showed up on Rampage this week. I actually watched this last one. But it was like he did like a little pre-tape. It was the least compelling Eddie thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it was a pre-tape. He wasn't mic'd well. Like it was kind of hard to hear him in like an echoey like arena or something. Like I don't know exactly where he was, but he's like sitting in the stands at some arena, maybe Corkin or something, and you're just like talking about the G1 and coming back to AEW as the NJPW Strong Never Open. Too many words to his title. Anyway, coming to AEW and defending the title in AEW. Hopefully, because G1 is ending soon. If it's not already over, I haven't been following it. Maybe it's ending this weekend. The finals have to be soon. Because I'm pretty sure I don't know. It's soon. So point being, Eddie should be done with the G1 in time for All In. Put that motherfucker in All In, even if it's just on the pre-show.
Yeah,
He's
please
got
don't
a
get
belt.
hurt. Please don't get hurt.
No. Well, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I think they're done. He might have like a tag match or something as an opening match in like the finals or something like that. But he should be good to go. Put him
How
in
did
there,
he
man.
do?
He didn't win. He wasn't one of the top, but he was like second tier.
Oh, okay.
I looked at standings. Like you get points. I think it's like 2
Yeah,
points
yeah.
for a win, 1 point for a draw. And he had 8 points, and like the next person above him had like 10 points, something like that. But he had a better than 50-50 record. So he was in the top half.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I also like because I was hoping that they didn't have a lot of Ring of Honor matches, but like I'm okay with them doing the tag team ring match like on the pre-show because that gives people something else to watch where it's not
Yeah.
just because WWE now all they do on their pre-shows is just bullshit talk. Like it just recaps
Yeah.
and talk. They don't have any matches whatsoever. So I kind of if you're gonna have a 6 hour show, do a match in the pre-show then instead of
Right.
like just having talking if people are gonna be there.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this too, like having the tag matches on these shows. So like I don't know. You want as many people on the show as possible. This is always the dilemma, I think, with big shows like this. Somebody's buying a ticket, they want to see all their favorite people, right? But there's only so many matches you can have. So a lot of times you end up just putting a bunch of random tag teams together so you can get everybody in there.
Worse, they'll Battle Royale.
Or yeah, right.
I
So
fucking hate them. I
I don't necessarily mind them, but yeah, I don't know. They have to really be done right. But like, and they sell them.
And none of them are besides Royal Rumble. Anyway,
A lot of them are like they're like, if it's a half hour long, it's 10 minutes of excitement. Well, they'll do like a standoff between two people.
That's my point with the Battle Royale, like where you're sticking like 20 people that damn well is not going to win. They're just doing it just to stick them on there to have something, and then it's really all they care about is the last four, and you already know who's going to be the last four.
Yeah,
going into it, so you're like, okay, especially when they're the only people who have their entrance themes, and the rest is just sitting there. And
yeah,
like,
when they do
they're
that,
all like they're all just sitting there staring at each other, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm like, okay, like I don't know, I just don't like the whole format.
Battle royals are hard because there's too much opportunity, like a ladder match for like just phony shit. Just like all of a sudden, this person's just sitting in the corner and everybody's ignoring them for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and, and then they're up and in the match again. And
yep. You're like, I forgot that he was in the match, and so I don't think they're gonna do that though. I haven't heard anything. I think they have too many. It's starting to form pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
We got a little nervous a couple of weeks ago when we were like, there's not one card, but now all of a sudden it's starting to like really.
It's for me, like one of my issues is this, like how many people can we get on the card thing? So like, if we look at one of the matches that's that we didn't talk about, well, the other matches, I think there's 3 matches announced. 4 matches. There's MJF Adam Cole, FTR versus Young Bucks, which I think that'll be good.
That's gonna be a good match.
I feel like part of me is like, I wish we could have it claimed in there somehow, but
they're coming back tonight.
Okay, cool. I'll watch tonight.
Collision.
But I mean, that's compelling, and if they just got to keep doing promos. The last promo they did was they didn't even say anything that was weak. They have to do a better build than just like one guy says FTR and then they stare at each other and then they say All In and then they go away. Like that sucked. But anyway, then there's the women's championship, which is gonna be a 4-way, which is like, yeah, okay. It kind of, sometimes it feels like it dilutes it a little bit. Like I want to see the championship match. Like I think everybody wanted to see Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter, and because Jamie Hayter's hurt, they can't do that. But like that's a lot more compelling than if it was like Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Penelope Ford versus the Bunny or something.
See, I don't mind the versus matches if there's like 3 or 4 of them because there's a lot of cool moments in those. That's
Yeah,
not.
there can
I feel
be.
like they're done differently than like a battle royale.
Okay, fair.
In my eyes, that's just in my
To,
eyes. I
to,
feel like they're done differently.
I know watching them, yes, but the anticipation to me is like it dilutes it a little bit if it's not like the top person versus the second top person. If it's
Yeah, no,
like,
I get that. Well, it's also the women's division, which they don't care about.
yeah.
They
And the other thing, the other match is Darby and Sting versus Swerve and AR Fox, which I think we talked about this briefly before. And to me, this is like, I don't know. It would be a lot more compelling, I think, if it was Darby versus Swerve. My guess is that's going to be all out. So they'll have this four-way match here. Then Darby and Swerve will have the blow-off match a week later at All Out. But to me, this is the bigger show. So why are you using this show as a build for a smaller show?
I think it's mainly to have, because who knows how much Sting has left in him to keep on going. He looks good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. But like, who knows, like when he wants to retire. So they figured, all right, it's a huge event. So people are going to pop big time when Sting comes out.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And to me, it's part of that dilemma, though. Like, you want to have Sting in there. This is the best way to put him in there. But it feels like not as important as if it was just Sting versus Swerve. And it's cool that AR Fox is going to be there, too.
But also, too, don't forget, like, I mean, it's not for a belt, so it's not like nearly as bad.
That's true.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, by the way, I'm sure I said this before in the podcast, but like Sting, they did such an amazing job. I have to keep on saying that. I feel like that is what you should do for the people who are like Sting, who's coming into AEW.
The veterans.
Yeah, like they really did him well. I just think like they didn't like, to me, I don't think they overly used him, but they also have it where he always feels special. He still does these fucking crazy moves that he's going to end up killing himself. And the fact that like WWE didn't even want him to wrestle. Now all of a sudden he's doing all this shit and like crowds are going nuts, that this is what WWE should have done. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so anyway, that's just a side note with Sting.
Yeah, they used him great. Speaking of which, and I'm going to continue your aside, Rob Van Dam, that match earlier this week.
I liked it.
It was really cool.
It was fun.
It was really fun.
When RVD came out, you were a little worried because he came out, he looked like he was drunk, like he looked like he was stoned. And like,
he was.
Then when
he had to be. He's always stoned.
When he did the kick move, and you're like, all right, it was a little slow, but he still got it a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the match was just fun as hell. It was definitely fun as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're not going to. It would be interesting if they keep on doing that, though. I know you said Bully Ray was thinking about. They actually offered. Bully Ray actually offered to do it.
He did.
Yeah, he actually said he'll probably be down to it. So I don't know if they would get him or not. But that was
just taking a stab in the dark.
No. I believe that I read somewhere that he said he would offer to do it. People mentioned Taz, but there's no way in hell that any doctor is probably gonna say that Taz can wrestle.
Yeah.
That guy has no neck anymore. So with all the neck injury, he does it. Like you see him, he has no neck. So I mean, that thing's been broken so many goddamn times. But
yeah.
So speaking of broken necks, another side note.
Go ahead.
Big E is probably most likely wrestle because of his neck. Big E, remember he broke his neck.
Yeah.
And he healed. He feels great, but it might be one of those things where like, do you really want to chance it type of accidents that like he feels great now, but the wrong move could be fucking fatal. Yeah. Anyway.
Let him talk and just come out and do an entrance, be a manager or something.
But so they mentioned Taz. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard people talk about Taz, but that's hard to imagine. I wonder. I mean, hopefully, in the end, it's Hook again. You know, he goes through some ECW people. Yeah. Maybe they bring Sabu back. I can't think of who else they would bring back. Who's like still alive and able to wrestle? You know,
Lance Storm now.
I don't know what Hook's doing.
Hook is done. So I'm wondering if they made him like. I don't know. I don't think he got hurt. I'm wondering if they just like made him disappear. So maybe that's the end game. Maybe he is going to come out and then crowd's going to go crazy.
I hope so at All In. Well, you had mentioned earlier, there's got to be some surprises at All In.
They have to be. So maybe you can't have an event like this without surprise. And that's another, I know I'm going back and forth, but that's another reason why everyone like SummerSlam was terrible. Like it was kind of bad matches. There was no surprises. It just nothing felt like a main event special because normally SummerSlam, WrestleMania, those are like main like Royal Rumble. Those are major things. I
Yeah.
feel like this one All In should be a major thing in itself. But now being here, with this minute, because you got to think, I think the most fans that they ever had in the stage was like 30 something, 40. I could be wrong, but I think it's like 40K was like the most they had.
Who,
I,
AEW?
yeah,
I
I
don't
could be
think
wrong.
so. I think it's like 20.
No, I think it's somewhere between 30 and 40.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
that's what I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe I read that. And so no matter what, you're over doubled.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be huge. Of fucking 80,000 fans chanting out Eddie. Because
Yeah,
they
Eddie.
will.
They got to do something with Eddie. And then I don't know. I mean that's another thing. So we talked about a few of the matches that are happening. That's only a very few. Um, uh, oh, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk, I guess, is supposed to happen, which I just don't
Well,
care
see,
about.
I heard that was supposed to be a three-way too, though.
Who was the third? Or you think they're gonna like add somebody in there?
It's supposed to be someone else. Yeah, I heard that could be a three and
Zack
two.
Sabre Jr. maybe?
I don't know. Can you imagine though? Um, I assume Jericho's doing something, and can you imagine fucking 80,000 fans singing his song like when he
Oh
comes out?
yeah.
And like that's got to be huge in itself because he probably never even performed with his band in front of 80,000 people.
I've seen his
So,
band a few times, and he's lucky if there's 100 people.
yeah. So no, I mean he has some good crowds in some of the shows. Maybe not in San Francisco, but
No.
it's definitely not no 80K.
Yeah.
Definitely not no 80K. So that I think like I'm trying to think of all the things. I'm like, this is gonna make like the wrestlers more pumped. They're gonna
Yeah.
want to try. Hopefully they don't botch up a lot of things because they're so nervous.
Well, let's talk about the Jericho thing a little more because that's the whole build right now, right? I know some people are, I feel like people are like, I don't want to say 50-50, maybe like 60-40 on it, like 60% are enjoying it, 40 are like, what is this? I like it. I think it's a cool, slow burn kind of build. I think something the week before is going to get announced for it that'll be at least interesting. But, every week it's like a new, like he's pushed a little bit further in one direction, like moving away from the other JAS people.
He has to anyway. It's done.
Yeah, and I guess this Wednesday they'll find out if he's gonna join Don Callis or not. My guess is probably not. And then
I also personally think that like because you said, well, what is he preparing for a retirement match? And I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah,
Because he's I mean he's up there. He's like what 53, 54, something like that.
something like that. And this would be the
And
place to do it.
yeah, this will be the place to do it as well as he earned it. I mean, it's not like an older wrestler that they bring in like let's say when Undertaker his last like 10 years he only did like a match a year.
Yeah.
I mean, Jericho's been doing this over 30 years and been constantly doing it. So
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm sure like he loves it and he'll keep on going as much as he can, but
Yeah.
eventually he's like maybe I should just do something behind the scenes and give my body a break, like
Yeah.
normally people don't go as and he's not the one that gets hurt a lot either, if you notice that.
That's true.
I don't know if he's like just a real safe worker and make sure, but like I don't recall that many times that he had to be out for being hurt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So for 30 fucking years doing it and every single organization and being champion in every organization and doing all this shit, yeah, it's got to be coming soon eventually.
Yeah.
There's nothing. What else can he prove? What else can he prove?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do something that's not wrestling. Maybe he'll be an announcer, maybe he'll be a manager. Manager wouldn't be bad. I don't know, maybe he'll just do backstage stuff.
Well,
or
he's been
public
constantly a manager
relations
for
stuff.
his factions though. So I mean that's not even though he was still wrestling, I still consider him as a manager for like most of the factions that
That's
he had
true.
in AEW. I heard Brock Lesnar is probably retiring soon.
Yeah. I mean,
which is due. I mean, he's putting everyone over now. I mean, there's another side note, but like things that you don't see all the time, I get interested in. Where like the match with Cody Rhodes that they just had, He which is relevant since Cody Rhodes started AEW. But
it's a stretch, but go ahead.
it starts. But he actually like shook his hand and gave him a hug when they were live, like after the match, and raised his hand. He doesn't do that. I mean, he doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. So
That's
like,
true.
so it's kind of huge. Like so
So anyway, All In.
Yeah, sorry.
So
on a side note,
I kind of like that'll be a big deal. That will add a lot to this show. That'll make this feel just like pretty huge if this is like a retirement match for Jericho. They're saying he's going to Will Ospreay. I don't know. I mean, it feels that way, but I'm 50-50 on it. I hope it is. Yeah. And hopefully the opponent is cool. Like against Will Ospreay would be cool, but like it would also be cool if it was against like an older dude, like one of his like. I mean, if it was against Sting, but I guess that's not going to happen. Oh wait, everybody's talking about Jericho versus Sting. That has to happen at some point, right? So I don't. But maybe that's a bad idea.
Does it have to happen? Like I don't know.
It might not have to. That might be a bad idea because they're both.
I never really thought about that. Like I really like. Normally I don't know. I don't think Sting has to really fight anyone. And honestly, in this stage, like
he doesn't need a one-on-one match. Really,
he's more like a sideline. He helps out. I like the whole helping out Darby type of feel, like a mentor type of. Because even though he's wrestling, it's still more of a mentor. I like that aspect than him being like, "Oh, let me do this one-on-one." I don't think he does that.
I think that's probably a bad idea. So hopefully this is the final match for him, and we'll see. What's going to happen with those other guys? Do they have a place in All In? If it is Jericho versus Ospreay or some veteran surprise guy, what do you do with Sammy?
Match either.
What?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want Jericho versus Ospreay. I don't know why. I just don't feel like it's not gonna be like. I really do think they need to. Isn't it be the third match if it was Ospreay versus Omega?
That would be. I think that would be bigger, especially with Ospreay in London. I mean, obviously Ospreay will be in London if it's against Jericho too. But like, if Ospreay is wrestling his biggest match outside of the Tokyo Dome, in his home country, it should be something significant, not just. I mean, I guess it's significant if it's a retirement match, but like something significant in the story of the Will Ospreay career, right? So I
feel like no one really cares if it's Ospreay versus Jericho. Like there's no real like, at least like this history with Omega and this, so it'll be bigger, like you said, and like I just. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do. I know Omega said he was going to show or say what he's going to do soon or something like that.
Yeah, this Wednesday he's supposed to tell us what he's doing.
I do believe my own opinion is that they waited so long to start doing matches because they didn't know who's going to be hurt, who's going to G1, who's doing this, who's doing that. So they probably had no idea because they probably had some, but it's hard. Like when you announce shit, they know that it's a fucking 50-50 chance. Then like if you announce something 3 months in and like, okay, we're going to do this show here, all of a sudden one gets hurt. Now you have no idea what the fuck to do and everything looks like. So maybe this was the smart way to do it. Sell all the tickets. We don't know yet. And then all of a sudden start doing it once it gets to be like a couple weeks in. Because it's shaping up pretty good. I do think it's shaping up pretty good. I'm glad I took it off because I'm actually really looking forward to watching it live and seeing what happens because I think it'll be huge for them.
I'm looking forward to getting up early on a Saturday to start watching it at 9 a.m. on the West Coast.
Oh, that's right. Is that the pre-show 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's insane. Because like when so it'll be noon for me then.
Yeah.
That's insane. But it's funny. Like it'll be the whole entire day because I'll wake up probably like 11ish. I'll watch it at noon, and damn well this shit's gonna be like until like 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
so
it's I'm funny like, too because I thought of like, inviting some people over. Then I'm like, wait, I don't want people coming over at 9 in the morning. I'm gonna be rolling out of bed. I'm not gonna be showered. Like
Julia will punch you in your face. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bringing these people at my place at 9 o'clock.
Babe, wake up. It's wrestling time.
Can you imagine? Because Ellie works overnights now. She might be off that weekend, but if she's not and she has to sleep, can you imagine if I had like people over? Oh my gosh, she would fucking put a bullet in my head. Like you have got because honestly, if any kind of that would be insane.
Yeah.
But
So I think the biggest danger of All In is going to be who's not there
yeah,
because it's the biggest thing ever. They're not going to be able to have everybody on the card. Some fans are going to be upset that like their guy didn't make it, And there's a lot of I mean, is are Lucha Brothers on there? Like that would be a shame if they weren't.
yeah,
One of the original guys.
They might be doing back to the time though. We make fun of the time being so early, but I guarantee you we're gonna love it once it ends and it's not like the whole entire like night is gone.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll end for like 3 o'clock in the afternoon for you. You could actually do shit.
Yeah.
Like
no, there's always this like curve when you're watching it where you're like you're hyped up at the beginning, and then partway through you just start to run out of steam. And then by the end, sometimes you pick it up again, but like.
See, I don't.
Yeah.
So because I realize like I'm hoping that because it's in the morning, it won't be because first of all, by the time I watch something at night, I'm already fucking stoned as fuck, and therefore like I'm already getting tired. But then like wrestling in itself, after about 2 to 3 hours, the third hour mark is when I'm like I'm losing. So even if it's a really great match, like I'm already like tired because it's fucking like 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, dude, come on. Like fucking SummerSlam went to 12:30. I wanted to fucking shoot someone. Like, so yeah, no, I'm like, I just wasted this whole, but, so I could imagine if they started like a normal time at like 7 or 8, and then all of a sudden it goes to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Nah, I'm not, I'm cool. I kind of like now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I like the fact that it's at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And then you do your stuff after you. Yeah. I know. I agree. But like, I know, hopefully, I like, obviously, a lot of the deal with AEW as an alternative to WWE is like they have these longer matches, right? They're supposed to be doing like more substantive actual matches. But sometimes I think they go a little too far with it. They could cut a couple of minutes off of a match here and there to get more stuff on the show, to get more wrestlers, in the ring, get more promo time. So for All In, I mean, I hope they can get a bunch of people in there, and like I'm sure some of these matches will have to go long, but hopefully they can just cut 5 or 10 minutes off a match here and there to get up, Lucha Brothers match in there, to get Pac in there somehow. I know there was a whole thing he's injured. BCC was talking about that, but like, maybe Pac and Claudio. Right, because
Pac is hurt, so he's hurt. So hopefully,
Pac is
that
hurt.
Storyline hurt?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, because Blackpool Combat Club was talking about. They're like making fun of him, kind of. They did like a little promo, like, "Ha, you're hurt. You're not even going to get to wrestle in England." So my guess is he's going to. So Claudio and Pac would be a great match. Hopefully, because Moxley will be fighting Orange, when they're doing Wheeler Yuta versus Orange this Wednesday. So they're definitely building a little bit more towards, Moxley versus Orange. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see as many people as they can get in there. Hopefully fucking Danhausen. I don't know. I think he's hurt, but like have him do something. Just have him show up backstage, just interrupt an RJ City bit and do something funny. He doesn't have to get in the ring. I hope they can get as many people because it's such a big deal. And one of the problems with WWE, I think that drove a lot of people away was that their guys weren't getting airtime. So like AEW's got to be the good guy here, especially with a show of this magnitude, and get as many people on air as they can in one way or another. Especially the originals, the people who have been there. Like Best Friends. What's Best Friends got to do? They got to do fucking something.
Yeah.
Right now it doesn't look
they're not as huge. They're not as huge as some of the people, but I mean,
no. Not at all, but they should be in there.
Yeah, they should be.
I think.
I'm wondering if Jade will come back for that, or if she's still in AEW.
Oh, Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's Chris
'Cause,
Statlander doing?
Yeah,
Nothing
so
is.
there's got to be something.
Yeah, that would be a good time to have
So
Jade versus Statlander.
I think I wonder if like I don't know. Maybe it'll be Eddie versus Osprey for the belt.
I'd watch that. I mean, that'd be great.
I would watch that too.
Yeah.
That I think that would be pretty decent. I think it's so funny. I said this before as we were running out of time, is that the crowd will definitely make it. And I think the crowd is going to be so huge for it that even the smaller matches is going to feel like a big thing, because that's what you feed off the energy.
Yeah.
Like you've seen some really great matches, but because like the crowd is so dead, and like you look at the crowd and they're all just sitting there looking like, like, all right, like it just kind of like deflates your energy to a match.
Yeah. And there's enough
so
mid-card.
I'm hoping.
Like you say, there's enough mid-card people in AEW that the fans love, that
Yes.
they can keep the energy going, or, with those matches that might not seem important,
So yeah, I think that's going to be huge, and I think they will, because they haven't had this in fucking forever.
Yeah.
Like, and back to my point in the beginning, this is going to be good probably for all wrestling, because it's just going to be a domino effect of, okay, we all should start showing more love to other places, and you know what I'm saying, and things like that.
Other
I wouldn't be
places,
mad
like
at it.
other countries, bring in like wrestling to other
You never know.
countries.
Like, when there was a wrestling match in fucking Puerto Rico, they didn't think it was going to be so huge, but that crowd was fucking bananas. Like, it was fucking like the most hyped crowd I have seen in such a long time, because they never had them. And then when they
Yeah.
had it, you're like, holy fuck. Like and because it was such a sight to see, it made me enjoy that pay-per-view event way more than I probably should have. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I feel like London, when you have 80,000 fans, even if 20,000 fans want to be a dick, the 60,000 fans are still going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you have so many people that no matter what, if you're sitting there and you have 60,000 people, those 20,000 people that is not saying much, they're like, well, we feel like a tool if we don't say nothing now.
Yeah.
You don't want one left out. So it's going to feed off each other. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and I swear to you, they better fucking get their mics in checked. Fucking better camera work. Oh my God, better camera work. So before they do it in front of 80,000 people, that would be insane. And
you got like 20 seconds.
I know this has nothing to do with wrestling, but if anyone actually makes it this far, you're not actually doing coke. You're just sniffing up a lot because of your allergies. Because I heard a lot of times.
You hear a lot of sniffing?
Yeah, I'm like, I know it sounds like I'm on coke. I'm not. I'm just really tired.
I've got one of these
sniffing sounds like
Vapo sticks too.
Yeah,
I've been sniffing.
I'm like, I promise you, he's not doing coke. He's just weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I have.
Hey, we ended before we got cut off.
We did end up before you go off. So on that note, I'm going to eat some meatloaf.
It's a Hanukkah miracle.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.